All right, Chiefs, let's talk about something we all know. That moment you're tasked with taking over let's say, a challenging engine room. This isn't just about turning wrenches, is it? No, this is about turning an entire operation around. And today, we're looking at a solid 90-day blueprint for doing just that, straight from our friends over at chiefengineerlog.com. Trust me, this is a real game changer.
Ah, yes, that smell. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not just stale oil and diesel fumes. It's the unmistakable scent of neglect. You can smell the high bilges. You can practically see the sea of red in the PMS, and you can just feel the crew's morale hitting rock bottom. It's the smell of a disaster just waiting to happen.
So here's the fork in the road, right? Most engineers, they'd walk into that mess, shake their heads, and start counting down the days to signing off. They see a bad ship. But an elite chief, a true professional, they see something totally different. They see a career-defining opportunity. This, right here, is what separates the clock punchers from the true leaders.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with that key mindset, that opportunity. Then we'll walk through the 4 phases, the tactical audit, the visual reset, the deep dive, and the all-important truth report. And we'll wrap up with how this whole process turns you into a real strategic asset for the company. Let's get into it.
Right, let's really dig into this first part, the opportunity. Because here's the secret. Fixing a broken engine room isn't about being the hero who works 20-hour days. That's how you burn out. That's the rookie move. No, it's about being smart. It's about a structured, tactical reset. You're not just patching leaks, you're fixing the entire system.
And here's the whole plan laid out. It's a 90-day blueprint broken down into 4 clear phases. And I want you to look closely at that first one. The first 2 weeks, you're not even supposed to be fixing machinery. Crazy, right? It's all about information gathering and changing the mindset. Then, and only then, do we get into the nuts and bolts and wrap it all up with reporting. It's a brilliant progression.
So let's get into phase 1, the tactical audit. And this part is absolutely critical. For the first 2 weeks, you resist every urge to pick up a wrench. I know, it feels wrong. But your job right now isn't to fix machines. It's to fix information. You've got to become a detective and find out what's really going on before you can change a thing.
And you do this with a simple 3-step audit. First, you pit the logbook against reality. Does the log say that pump was overhauled, but you see an inch of dust on it? Bingo. You've just found a paper chief, a culture of pencil whipping, and that's toxic. Second, safety first, always. Before anything else, check the emergency gear, lifeboat engine, fire pumps, quick closing valves. Why? Because if things go sideways, you need to know your crew can get out safely. Simple as that. And third, the human inventory. You sit down and talk with every single engineer on your watch. And when you talk to them, this is the magic question. Forget asking about the main engine for a minute. You ask them this: what is the one thing that stops you from doing your job right? It's amazing what you'll hear. Maybe it's missing tools. Maybe it's spare parts that only exist on paper. Maybe it's just a lack of trust. The answer to this question, well, that's where you'll find the root of all your problems. Okay, so you've done your detective work, you have the facts. Now we move into phase 2, the visual reset. This is all about psychology. Think about it. A dirty, leaking engine room just screams, nobody cares. So the first battle you fight is the war on leaks. This isn't just about housekeeping, it's about resetting the entire team's professional standards.
This really gets to the core of it. A leak is a sign of a broken culture. That's so true. Every little drip, every weep, that's not just a bad gasket. It's a sign that the crew has given up. So when you start fixing these small, annoying things, you're sending a huge message. You're signaling that things are about to change around here.
And this becomes your new mantra. You say it to the crew, you show it with your actions. The era of good enough is over. No more temporary fixes. No more bubblegum and baling wire. From this day forward, the standard is a professional, permanent repair. Period. It's a simple statement, but it changes absolutely everything.
All right, so the engine room is clean. Morale is starting to turn around. Now, finally, we get to phase 3, the technical deep dive. See, now you're not just running around putting out fires anymore. You're in a position to start proactively building real, lasting reliability.
And you do it methodically. First, a calibration week. You can't manage what you can't measure, right? So you verify every single gauge and sensor. Bad data leads to bad decisions.
Next, you create a top 5 list. What are the 5 pieces of equipment most likely to cause a blackout? You focus 80% of your effort right there. And finally, you audit the spare parts. Actually lay eyes on them. Make sure what the computer says you have is what you actually have.
And that brings us to the final and maybe most important phase, the truth report. Look, you can be the best engineer in the world, but if the office doesn't know it, it doesn't matter. This is about taking all that hard work you did in the bilges and translating it for the boardroom. This is how you prove your value and secure your reputation.
And you don't do it with stories, you do it with data. A simple chart like this is worth 1,000 words. You walk into the superintendent's office and you show them this. You say, yes, you can see our spare part costs went up a bit, but look what we got for it. Unscheduled downtime is down 60%. You have to speak their language, and their language is dollars and cents, profit and loss. When you put all of this together, something fundamental changes. You're no longer just another chief engineer on the roster. You're not just an expense on a spreadsheet anymore. You've transformed into something much, much more valuable. You become what we call a technical executive. And no, that's not just some fancy, made-up title. It's a real shift in your role. You're the person they can send to a 15-year-old vessel that's bleeding money, and you have the system to make it profitable and reliable again. That skill, that is incredibly rare and incredibly valuable.
And at the end of the day, it all comes down to this one simple truth. The company isn't just paying you for your hours on board. They are paying you for the risk you remove from their operation. Every catastrophic failure you prevent, every off-hire day you avoid, that's money you are saving them. You are an investment, not an expense.
So I'll leave you with this question. Look, this isn't easy. It takes discipline, it takes courage, and it takes real leadership. But I'll tell you what, the chiefs who can do this, they never have to look for a job. The jobs find them. So the only question left is, are you ready to be the chief they call when everything is on the line?